All right, welcome back to an update on the tracked dozer development. In the last video, you saw that the new drives are much better with the wet sand, but I wasn't quite happy with the torque from the motors. But I also didn't want to sacrifice the speed in reverse. So when you're pushing the sand, you need a lot of torque, and you would probably be happy to do that at a relatively slow pace. But then if you're reversing, you want to maintain a relatively high speed. So in order to kind of bridge this compromise, I've gone from 12-volt motors that are roughly 60 RPM to 6-volt motors that are roughly 30 RPM. And according to the data sheet, the 6-volt motors are supposed to put out the same power, which is not normally how this works, but motors come in all different shapes and it's difficult to tell what's going on inside. So I took the plunge. I bought two 6-volt motors at 30 RPM, and as you will see in the video, they worked really well. Good forward pushing force and speed, and then reverse, you can have the same travel speed as before. And if anything, I feel like even at 6 volts, they are probably putting out more power than the 12-volt motors at 12 volts. So just goes to show, sometimes less voltage is actually not that bad. So there were still a couple of issues. You can see that some of the very thin spokes have broken out. Kind of expected that. This was kind of like a attempt to find a solution, and it does work. And even with the broken spokes, it's just fine. And also there's still a lot of sand buildup. Oh, that sound. But it does not seem to really affect the drive that much. I think that the teeth of the track are just enough to push deep enough into the snow, into the sand, that this is not an issue. One issue that I will need to address is you can see how this track frame is kind of like bent open, and I'm getting some sand buildup on the sides of the support wheels, and I will have to find a way to deal with that. So probably what I'm going to do is I'm going to move these grub screws further in, and then at least at the front I will have one that basically holds this together like so. And also what I've noticed more on this side is that these actually come loose. They are supposed to be tightened against the inner ring of the ball bearings that I use, but they do come loose, so I might have to use some thread locker on that. And the motor that does the tilt of the blade, so this one here, is quite slow, and looking at the real machines, actually the movement for the tilt is pretty fast, so that the operator can follow the terrain, go left to right as needed. And so I think I will swap this motor for a faster version. I'm not too concerned about the loss of force for that, because with the lead screw there's plenty of force. And and then the last challenge will be to fit all of this into the bonnet and the chassis. That's going to be a bit of a challenge. Obviously there's a lot of cable that I can get rid of, but there's also not massive amounts of space, so we'll see how that goes. All right, thank you very much.